Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be testing out Makeup by Mario, which is a new line that launched at Sephora by Mario, who is most famously known as Kim Kardashian's makeup artist. So today I'm going to be testing out the Soft Sculpt line. So there is a cream blush, cream bronzer, powder blush, bronzer, and what's the other thing that I bought? Oh, a powder highlighter. So I'm going to be putting all of that on my face today. I featured some of this line in a Sephora haul, which I'll link down below because I've actually since exchanged a couple of things. So I've got swatches over there of products that won't be in this video, so that way you'll get a better idea. And I've also grabbed a couple of cream bronzers just to compare shades in case you're trying to match yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my foundation and then we'll get this on my face. So let's go ahead and get started. I gotta say it. Okay, so I've got my foundation on. If you're curious, I'm wearing the Tom Ford Traceless Matte Foundation because I bought this, reviewed it, and then moved on to other things, and I was like, that's Tom Ford. I should be using this. So I'll link that review down below. But firstly, let's move in to the sculpting product. I was super excited about this. Huge fan of cream contour, cream bronzers. They're definitely not as intimidating as I feel like Instagram has made them out to be, or Instagram did like a lot of damage to us 4 years ago in showing us what we thought contouring was supposed to be. But it's actually great, and I do it on the day-to-day. When I was working full-time, I was actually probably wearing more makeup when I was working full-time than I am right now, and I would do that in the mornings. So it could look really great and natural. So this is the Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick, and I picked it up in the shade Medium Dark, which has been a great match for me. I'll tell you how much this cost. This was $35 Canadian, and it comes in 6 different shades, which I think is good. I'm the third darkest shade. I haven't seen the other shades in person, but I feel like that's okay. I'm glad to see that amount of shades, and in here you are getting how much product? 10 grams of product, which is a decent amount. Although when you roll it up, you just feel sad. But you won't run through it that quickly. So I'm going to swatch this shade for you, and then I'm going to swatch it next to some other ones just so you can see. So that's medium dark there. One of the things that I noticed that I didn't like about this was that I also purchased the shade Medium Dark in the bronzer, the powder bronzer, and I found that the powder bronzer was too light for my skin, so I feel like this Medium Dark should be as dark or about the same, as close as they can get it to the powder, because I was like, oh great, they've made it really easy. I'll get Medium Dark in the cream, I'll get Medium Dark in the bronzer powder, and therefore I would assume they would be the same, and they weren't. To me, it seemed like they lacked some depth. The powder lacked the same depth that the cream did, and I know it'll never be an exact match, but it could have been closer in my opinion. So I'm going to swatch it next to some other cream bronzers that I have, just if you're curious to see. So this one here is the Wet n Wild stick in the shade Where's Walnut. I really love this cream contour, great from the drugstore. And I've got this Milk one, which I really like. It's in the shade Blaze, but I do find it, like, I like the color. Oh, it's dry. And I haven't used it in a while. Let's see. This one was like, it had great potential, but it's a little less user-friendly, but I figured you could get the color there. So that one is in the shade Blaze. Then this is the Nars Casino bronzer. They also have an Orgasm one. Casino is darker than Orgasm. Or not, sorry, Orgasm. Laguna. So we have all of them there. It's probably the darkest. And the last one is from this brand Say. Someone tell me how to pronounce that, please. This is their new cream bronzer, and it's in the shade Sunmelt. You can see that one has the most warmth. So there they all are there. I like all of these, by the way. Okay, just popped on a little bit of concealer. Now I'm going to go in with this Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Shaving Stick. Wow. They really don't make it easy on my little list that I've got. And I love just drawing it on. I watched his video. He said put it above, like put the contour above a little bit, and then he was talking about the highlighter. Actually, he said, and he smiled, don't put it in like your smile line. So I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, Mario. Really nice. Draws on really nicely. It doesn't feel greasy or slippery. And I'm just going to do the first like side of my face just so I can show you what it looks like. And this is a really great brush if you're looking for cream contour products. Sephora 56 brush. I've talked about it a lot. But cream products do not have to be intimidating. They don't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be a big ordeal. And it doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, cream products can look a lot more natural if they're done correctly. And I think it's a lot about light layers, building, and figuring out if the product should be blended. Some products can be like buffed into the skin, some should be patted. There might be a little bit of an adjustment period, but that's like with anything. It's learning something new, right? But I think the key when you're learning new makeup is to not do it like right before you have a meeting or something. When you get home from work, do your makeup on top of your makeup, or on a day where it's low stakes, where your Zoom calls can be, you can have that camera off, baby. I'm gonna just put a little bit more here, and I actually want to use the brush that comes on it just out of curiosity. I'm not a big fan of brushes that come with anything, but these are nice. Also to note, the packaging is white, but it's a little bit tin, so I think it's gonna stay fairly clean. Like this one had some kind of mark on it, foundation that I had on my fingers, but you can wipe it down, so that I appreciate. This brush is super dense. I would use it a little bit more to like pat and kind of pull / do this kind of with the product, then buff it. And he said in his video to use any remainder on the nose, which is kind of, no, he was using the remainder on the forehead actually, which is not what I do. I use the remainder on my nose and just put it down the side. Can I give you some true behind the scenes? Because I'm actually filming an Instagram reel at the same time as doing this. I'm just gonna blend this out on the other side. I really like this consistency. So far, this is probably one of my favorite products from the line that I've been testing out. Just because I'm always in the market for products like this. I think the first one that I ever tried was from Dior, the first cream contour that I really loved, and that was limited edition. And a while back, that was when I first moved to Toronto, and it was a little bit prior to like stick cream contours becoming so popular. But that's my favorite format, so then I can just draw it on my face and buff it out with a sponge or a brush. I'm just going to pat out this concealer with my finger. It's the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Concealer. I've really been loving this lately. It's been my current favorite concealer, I think, actually. So then I grabbed the Soft Pop Blush Stick. Yes, and this is in the shade Raspberry. Exact same packaging as the cream bronzer. Very similar with the brush on the bottom. This I thought was just the most beautiful shade. If you watch my channel a lot, you know that I'm absolutely addicted to peach blushes, but I thought this was really, really unique and such a beautiful pop of color. And I think that's important because, I mean, he's a makeup artist and he knows more than us, right? I mean, he knows more than me. I'm not going to speak for you. But a lot of the time people get a little bit stuck in their ways. Even me, who has access to a lot of makeup, I still grab for a peach blush. So I like seeing lines that have cool shades in there because he knows that this is not going to pull super pink on your cheeks and make you look like a clown. There's going to be a lot of freshness, brightness, youth, and youthfulness to this kind of shade. So I was like, okay, let me go outside of my comfort zone here a bit. I'm just going to draw this on. Bing, bing. When I've cleaned off that brush a little bit, I'm just going to pat it into my cheeks. I also noticed that there's no, I wish he had a stick highlighter. There was 2 other cream kind of products that were like sort of glosses, maybe 2 or 3 that came in a pan. They looked raised and they were kind of these glossy cheek products. And I was curious to try them, but the reviews were not good. And they were like really glossy, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to like it. So I kind of ended up shying away from it. I maybe should have tried it, but it just, I don't know, they didn't appeal to me, so I wish he had just done a stick as well. So you can see the difference on my cheeks. I normally wouldn't put it so on the apple. I've been trying to put my blush back here a little bit more to give myself more of a sculpted look, but I want you to see the difference in that, like, I believe that I don't look super clowny. I may act like one, but I think that's just a cute pink flush. I really love this color. I love how much brightness and freshness it has. It doesn't have any chunks of glitter in there, and it shows up really beautifully on the skin, and I've got a really pretty matching pink blush for it. So then I picked up a new shade of the Soft Sculpt Bronzer, which, as I mentioned in the Sephora haul, I really felt like the shade was lighter than what I wanted it to be in comparison to the other medium dark, so I decided to go the next shade up, which then means that I'm using the second to darkest bronzer, which I feel like perhaps that is showing that there's a little bit of a lack of depth in the powder products in comparison to the cream products, because I'm using the shade dark and then the next shade up is dark deep. But that's kind of making assumptions, and I will say that everything that I've gotten, and I mentioned this in my Sephora haul, do you see there's like something on that? Do you see there's something on it? And like it just doesn't look as like clean and new and fresh in my opinion. Something about that is just a little off to me. I don't know what it is. I'm like, I've never experienced that before with products showing up, unless it's like come from PR and it was a sample or something like that. Like, not that somebody had touched it, but like it may not be looking as pristine if it wasn't in its normal box or whatever. But this I purchased from Sephora. It was not PR or anything like that. So I don't know. Using this like snazzy Nars brush for bronzer right now. But the product itself is nice. It's got a little bit of kickback. I actually really love the way this looks. I think it like looks really diffused and natural and bronzy. My only complaint, I think, is the shade range. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. But it is very soft in terms of the way it looks on the skin. Very blendable, buildable. I quite like it. It's got a nice amount of warmth, too. Also, this Tom Ford foundation. I think I liked it at the time, but I gotta start using this again. I think I like it. Unfortunately. I don't want to like it at that price point. Then I'm so excited about this blush. I had originally purchased the peach blush, which had some shimmer in it, but then I decided to go with a matte one. This says it's created for silky, long-wear formula and gives cheeks an instant pop of color. Let me see how much this cost. And I mentioned this in the Sephora haul as well, and I'm not saying this to like pick it apart. This is a review, so I will review what I observed. And I just don't want to seem like I'm coming off super picky, but it's just something about the way it was packaged and the way the products look. I mentioned in the Sephora haul, I'm like, it looks like there's a little bit of room between the pan and the other things, and I don't know what it is, if it's just the way they packaged it. But either way, here is the blush. It's absolutely stunning. So I'm going to take this, this is a Sigma brush actually. It's tapered, just because it's probably a decent amount of pigmentation in here. But remember when Estee Lauder came out with that brand that was like, we're young and cool and like Kendall Jenner? They had a pink blush that came out in Estee Edit that was like this, that I fell in love with. It's a little bit lighter, but it just looked so fresh and bright and youthful on the skin. And there's something about these hot pink blushes that are just stunning. I think it kind of imitates a natural flush, perhaps, same as red blushes. That blush, by the way, was $29 Canadian, comes in 5 different shades. There's 2 shimmer and 3 matte. And then lastly, again, this soft glow highlighter. I was a little disappointed in the shade that I got because I felt like, again, I purchased the shade Honey, which is the 4th deepest highlighter, and it just seemed too light to me. So if you have a very fair skin tone, good news is it seems like there's 4 highlighters, like very fair up to like I don't know, a medium skin tone. There's probably great options there for you in terms of good undertones and range. If you have a deeper skin tone, like if you're any deeper than me, it seems like we only have 1 shade to use, because even the Honey, to me, I felt like I could use it, but it was missing depth and yellowness and goldness that it showed on the website. So I exchanged it and picked up this one. It's $35, by the way. This is the Soft Glow Highlighter in the shade Bronze. And this is definitely kind of more what I was expecting Honey to be, is almost more like what it looks like on the website. But these look really, really bright and highlighty. I'm going to use this brush because it looks just so intense as a highlighter. This is the Quo Detailed Highlighter, which is exactly what I want to do. Let's see. Looks very pretty. I'm going to have to look up close on my face though, because I don't know if there's a glitter in here. But this color looks really good. It looks warm. It's not pulling like too bronze on my skin. I was like, is it going to leave a stripe? It ends up looking quite natural. But I think a brush like this is really helpful. Very pretty. And it doesn't, like up close on the skin, you can obviously see it's a bit of a highlighter, but it doesn't have chunks in it. I think this looks really beautiful, especially on camera. It almost looks like a wet look. Even in person, it looks really good. But when you look up really close in the mirror, you can see tiny, tiny things on your face. And that's with a lot of highlighters, but just to note. So I just put on my mascara and a couple of other things, but what I just tried looked really good. I popped on some of this raspberry blush on my lips, and it looks incredible. It feels very dry, because that's not what it's meant for, but looks so good. So overall, I have to say I'm impressed with my experience with the line, in that I really like all the shades that I bought and they all work for me, and I love this look. I really love experimenting with the hot pink blushes, putting it on my cheeks. That warm highlight is really nice. The bronzer and the cream bronzer are beautiful. But that being said, I do feel like because I'm in like the top darkest shades and I really don't have that deep of a skin tone, there definitely is some work that needs to be done on shades. From the outset, it looks really good. I think the powder products need work. Powder highlight, powder bronzer, definitely. Otherwise though, I think it looks really, really good. I enjoy the products. The price point is not like exorbitant. The packaging, again, I'm unsure about. I like the fact that it looks like white and clean and it's cleanable because it's this tin and not something super porous. I'm not sure if it won't stain though. But that being said, something about it feels, I don't know, a little bit off with some of the packaging. I don't know if it's in transit or whatever it may be, but just something to note that I noted. It's not make or break. But yeah, overall feels really good. It's essentially a celebrity makeup collection, even though he's a celebrity makeup artist, but he's kind of a celebrity too, in my opinion. And it definitely feels like a good makeup collection. I like the products that are here. I think the line is interesting. There's a lot of things in there that are more makeup artist focused, it feels like. There's also eyeshadows there that I wasn't really that interested in, but what I've tried, I've really liked, and if you can find a shade, I think the products feel really good. But I ask you, Mario, as I'm sure you're watching this with open ears, to increase some of the deeper shades when it comes to powder, because we want everybody to be able to try it and have a great experience with the product. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to let me know down below what you think, and as always, if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!